I suppose we should start it off with you introducing your wonderful self and this incredible book here today. Sorry.
Ooh. Yeah, hi, I'm Morgan Owen and I wrote The Girl with No Soul. Um, it's about Iris who is she has no memories or feelings and she's kind of living on the streets of Providence, kind of just trying to survive, trying to get by. And she is hired by a mysterious countess to steal a ring, which turns out to have her own lost memory in it and a part of her soul. So she is then kind of embarking on a journey to build herself whole again, work out what happened to her, and solve the mystery of the night that never was. Ooh, and yeah, so it's my first book, and yeah, I got two cats. I'm from Birmingham. That's about it.
So, obviously, as you said, this is your first book and it is a masterpiece, I must say. But what drew you kind of to writing fantasy? Was it just you had this idea that kind of fit into the kind of like fantastical a little bit, or was it something that
Yeah.
you always kind of wanted to look at?
Yeah, I think I always write fantasy. I'm always like looking to escape through books and I want to go to a different world usually. Like obviously there's some really great books that are set in this world and they have really smart things to say, but that was like why I read as a kid, wanted to experience something different. And so yeah, I've always kind of written fantasy stories. And this one, yeah, I tend to like think of a concept first. So I had this idea of the soul and the lanterns and what it would be like if people could see all of that and what that would look like. And it just sort of built from there. But I love the world building. So yeah, I get really into that and have a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, I can imagine that that's like a really satisfying and like I get so carried away, I think, with like building a world that I'd never actually write. And
Yeah, that can be fun too, though. Just like
just
think of it.
imagining my
Yeah,
own
yeah,
little
yeah.
kind of
Yeah, and then you've got, like,
concept.
obviously the plot in the middle of all of that, so I had to, like, pare it back at times, I could really go into detail about something really irrelevant, so you have to try and balance those things out and yeah, but it's really fun to think of all the little details and what it would look like because I tend to see it really visually in my head when I'm writing.
Ooh. So was the main inspiration for it then that concept that like kind of first come to your head? Pardon me.
Yeah, it was a couple of things combined. Like I just sort of had this. I said at some point on Twitter years and years ago, I said something about how you build your soul kind of together as you go through life, and you find bits of it in books and films and the stuff that like becomes a part of you because you love it that much. And so I had that kind of idea in mind and how it'd be kind of backwards and but it was just that it wasn't like as much the world and all of the detail that came with it that came later. But I did also find these magic lantern slides on glass at a car boot sale. And they've just got little pictures on them. And yeah, like, so a little, those things combine in my mind and then it starts to grow and then it gets out of control, usually.
I love that because when I first read the book, I did textiles at uni and I did a essay on fabrics
Yeah.
and clothing and items we wear and how the items themselves almost become a part of you from
Yeah.
like the wear. If you wear something a million times and it's got a hole in it, it's almost it mirrors you and so like when I
Yeah.
was reading it, I was and obviously her soul being hidden in things, it was just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
It's absolutely oh, I love this book. Everyone knows I've screamed about this book a million times. With it being obviously your debut and your first kind of published book,
Yeah.
I'd love to know like some of the highs you've kind of had since because nearly a year coming
So
up.
it was published in March.
Yeah,
So yeah, less than a year of being published, but this time last year, obviously, it was all go and I knew it was happening. So it's been a whirlwind, and yeah, I went to the Cheltenham Literature Festival recently and got to do a panel. That was definitely a high. We got mic'd up, I was so nervous. I was like, how am I here? This is a joke. Like, is this an accident? Like, this is, yeah, this is kind of wild. And yeah, just talking about your craft and stuff. It's kind of surreal, to be honest. Because you just go up doing this thing like in your room alone, and then suddenly people are actually interested in it and talking to you about this thing that lived in your head forever. So yeah, that's definitely a highlight. And YALC as well, any kind of like event where I've got to meet other writers and be a part of that world. And yeah, and I said at Cheltenham that writing is kind of like a roller coaster. You have like really good periods, and then you have really bad periods as well, because it can be kind of harsh. Like, you're open to criticism, and there's a lot of competition, kind of pressure on writers to produce content and be like announcing their next books, and yeah. So I think you have to hold on really tight to those highs. So I have like a folder on my phone that's got all my screenshots of all the reviews and social media posts, because that's the thing that, if I wake up and I get like a nice new social media post, it's like it makes my day. I get into writing in a really good mood, because those are the highs, like the reviews that you get from people. Yeah, especially teenagers as well. So I've got like a couple of people that yeah, I'll remember their words forever, and I look at them all the time.
Definitely. I've got one of those folders for like
But yeah,
um anytime someone mentions the box and he's like, oh, I literally screenshot it, because I'm
yeah,
like, I need this for when it's
definitely.
the
Yeah.
long slog of packing over 100 boxes and I just want to cry from the stress. I need the nice little comments. So I totally love that you've got one of those as well for like reviews and things. That's amazing.
It's the fuel, isn't it? Like, keeps you going.
With your book, I have some questions.
God.
In Obviously, with your book, you've managed to blend fantasy with romance, and like, whilst at the same time balancing a character who's kind of learning to figure out who she is, and at the same time how she can trust others.
Yeah.
How do you balance all these things in a book? Because like, it's it's perfectly balanced. It wasn't like too much of one thing and not enough of another. Is it just like sitting there and editing it and moving things around, or are
That's a
you
really
just
nice
are
compliment. I
are
don't
you
know if
just a
I
genius?
I don't know if I know the answer. I don't know. I can't, like, this is my thing, when people give writing advice and they
Yeah,
sound so smart. They really have it all together. They know what they're doing. But I came into this as like a full-on pantser, and it's like intuitive, and I just kind of made it up as I go along, and I'm trying to learn now to have some systems, because I do think those things are really beneficial. So yeah, it probably was just revision and revision. Like, I'm an obsessive editor. Like, I go over scenes again and again and again and again. And one piece of writing advice that really stuck with me was, to try and create vignettes, kind of, and bookends with things. So you have like symbolic meanings, and you try and that creates balance, actually, because you've got like the two
yeah.
bookends. So I try and do that a lot, and maybe then some of it is accidental.
I love that answer though. Like, if I was you, I would have just gone, I'm just a genius.
Well,
I'm just that good, everyone.
I know I can't live up to that. I don't want to set that as the bar. No.
um, the bar's already pretty high, and
Yeah.
so with Iris, obviously our main character,
Yeah.
how did you come about kind of like creating her, and how was it like to write her at the beginning? Because at the beginning, obviously, she's a hollow. She
Yeah.
hasn't got a soul,
Yeah.
which is kind of what you'd think of as someone's personality. And essence and everything, but yet she's still got a obviously her voice develops throughout the book, but even at the start she's kind of got her
Yeah,
own voice and you know it's her. Like,
yeah.
how was it to kind of write that? Because
Hard. Um, oh, like, so in I think, early revisions, she was too hollow, like, she was too, and I think, there would have definitely been an editorial note at some point that, the reader has to latch it because, it's too late to have her develop a sense of humor, for example, kind of fourth part in the book. So I settled on the idea that because the soul is never fully broken or damn, it's not destroyed, it still exists, that she's kind of tethered to it still, and she has like a connection to it. So I could draw on any of those little things that I might need: a little bit of personality, a little bit of memory, a little bit of fire in her, so that she could like draw on them when needed. And yeah, I saw loads of different revisions because originally I was trying to dampen the physical senses as well, so that developed along with the book. But again, that's something that's like really key when you're world building, is to try and use the senses to ground people in the moment. So yeah, I just had to have this idea of a little seed of her and then just grow her and build her up with each part. And yeah, like it was quite complicated. And I feel like I keep doing this, like writing stories with all these bits that I have to piece together.
definitely. It was amazing to read because it did feel like she was kind of blossoming into, like, who she was and kind of understanding it more.
Yeah.
Um,
That is, a tough thing in life that everyone struggles with continually, and the job's never done and all of that. So yeah, that part. Yeah.
do you think that's why she's such a relatable character? Because I related to her so well, even though obviously I hope I've got a
It's
soul and it's not hidden
yeah.
away from me in places, but
Oh yeah.
she's such a, like, relatable kind of voice.
Yeah.
And do you think that that's kind of some of the reason was why?
Yeah, and thank you also, really nice things to say. I'm like, "Ah." Yeah, right, so she's kind of like me, and she's kind of like everyone in that, like, something bad happens to you at some point in your life, and it causes you to kind of ask, who am I don't know anymore. This thing has thrown me, and now I have to like start over, or I have to reassess everything. And yeah, so it's kind of like that. And then I think everyone I know has had some moment in their life where they felt like shattered. And it's that, the journey of self discovery and healing sometimes is definitely about finding yourself again, because you never really lost. And that's kind of she never actually had the title is a lie. She never had no soul, really. It was just kind of, lost and fragmented. But yeah, like everyone, like there's always you in there, you just kind of got to find it, I guess.
Yeah, you've just got to let it shine.
Yes, that was
Yeah,
the idea.
yeah, definitely. Was she one of your kind of, like, favorite characters in the book that you created, or do you have a soft spot for some of the other characters as well?
Yeah, I think Iris is way cooler than me. And and I'm more like the dark. I'm like a Vander on like a bad day when he's all like, oh, kind of consumed with doubt and stuff. Like, I really like related to that a lot, and poured like a lot of depression experiences and imposter syndrome and anxiety, to like kind of demonstrate how we can let like that negative image of ourselves take over us as well. So I actually have a soft spot for literally everyone. To the point where I struggle to kill people, even the bad people, because it's like you kind of want to know what would happen next with them at the same time. But sometimes you just really have to kill people, and I struggle with that. And I'm trying to get better at it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Maybe you need to have, like, a session with, like, Cynthia or, Cat Ellis or something.
Someone who's really, really. Oh, I do. I have friends in the group chats and stuff who are just so savage about it. Like no hesitations. They love it. They love it. I don't know. I need to write a book next about full of people that I just hate and just have no attachment to, and I can't wait to see them go. Yeah, no, I really struggle with that actually. They become like really alive to me. And
I
yeah,
think I'd be the same because
yeah,
it's even when I'm reading books, like when I read Cynthia's last one,
yeah.
at the end, I wanted to like somebody dies at the end who I really didn't want to,
Yes.
and I was so attached to, and I totally know why Cynthia did it, and it makes so much sense
Yeah.
to the plot and everything. It makes
Yeah,
so
it's
much sense.
devastating though, isn't it? You
But
want
my
something to go right
my heart
fantastically.
was going,
Yeah.
I don't know if I can ever talk to Cynthia again.
Took
I
it
don't.
personal. Took
I
it
it
personally.
felt personal,
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
like,
I
"Cynthia, why have you done this to me?"
it's the two reading moods, I guess. You know, some of the books have to leave you with a feeling of comfort, like in this crazy wild world, there is some security, and other books have to tear it away because they're good too. I love both of those reading experiences.
Definitely. I've definitely had quite a mixed bag lately of, like, feeling like my heart's glowing and I
Yeah.
want to hug the book, and then
Throw, throw,
wanting to throw the book to the other side of the room, which I would never do
yeah.
because, but feeling that, like,
Maybe
"How could
shake
you
it a little bit,
how could you do this to me?"
that's the balance though. That's what keeps us sane, maybe, you know.
Well, yeah. Well, am I
Well,
sane?
yeah.
You
As as is relative, you know.
So
Yeah.
if you could bring just one of the characters to life from your book, this is probably a really hard question for you. If you
Yeah.
could just bring one
Yeah.
to life, which one would it be?
Oh gosh. Can I bring back someone who I don't should I say like should I be dropping I'm not can I bring back someone who died in the book and give them like a yeah like so there's a certain fatherly figure, a mentor who we meet in the sanctuary who's just like one of the few like purely good
I'm
people.
tearing up. Look at me
um
go.
and and like I think he was, he had, yeah, it had to happen that way. And but he's very much alive in my heart, and I feel like I need him sometimes in my life. So yeah, maybe I would do that. Of the other, yeah, again, I'm not. How could I choose? They all deserve to live equally.
They're like, they're all my children. I can't pick between them.
I'm really bad at these questions, like really bad.
That's why we ask them. We like asking the difficult
No.
questions. One of my last questions is if um people enjoyed your book, is there any other UKYA books that you think they would enjoy?
Yeah, so okay, I don't know, like I feel like it's sort of weird of me to be like, this book's like my book, you know?
Yeah.
All books are unique and precious babies to me, but I do have like lots of good UK YA recommendations from this year. It has just been absolutely immense.
Mhm.
I mean, so the one I like people bored of me talking about this, but I love it so much. I love Rebel Skies. I can't wait for the sequel of Rebel Skies. I love this world. I want this to be a movie. I want everything from Rebel Skies. That's like I'm so invested in the world. You know, I love the world building. So I'm like, love, love, love Rebel Skies. And if you still recognize me, Cynthia, so one of the best books. Just it took me back. It was really like almost personal because I had that experience kind of growing up, and it was everything. It was so beautiful. Huge into that. Uh The Butterfly Assassin by Finn Longman. Really racy, cool, unlike anything else that I've read recently. I have so many of these. Big Bad Me.
Yeah.
Big Bad Me. So funny.
I've just started that and I
Oh,
must
okay.
say
Yeah,
20 pages in,
yeah.
I was like, can Evie be my best friend?
It
Like
feels like a friend. It's like a friend of a book, like
Yeah,
yeah,
it just
it's
it's just one of those, like, like, Evie, the character was just,
yes,
like, she was there
yeah.
straight away, and I was like,
She's so funny. It's
"I like you.
such a
You
funny
amuse
book.
me."
Yes, love, 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 love. Mindwalker,
Yeah,
Kate Flynn. Oh gosh, I've got oh, The Eternal Return of Clara Hart. The Secrets Act. If you
yeah,
can trust me. If you can, yeah, yeah, yeah. You can trust me.
yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, my
There's so
brain is
many good
looped.
ones. So,
Um,
so
and
many.
like everything paper orange, like you've really, yeah. I mean, a lot of those were paper orange titles. Actually, checking back. Yeah, you've been doing an amazing job of like compiling all of that, and I always am like getting something and being like, "What? I haven't heard of this book." The Stranded I heard about through you.
I
Another
love that
awesome
book.
UKYA. You see,
It's
they're everywhere.
like the second I got sent information about that, I was like, dystopian on
Yeah,
a cruise
cruise
liner.
ship. Yeah,
This
I
is
mean,
genius.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, it was one of those ones that just went,
yeah,
"This is great."
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, we're sport for choice, and there is so much amazing UK way out there. Yeah,
but before
but
we go, is there anything you can tell us about what you're currently working on or may have just finished working on, or
I
if you're allowed to tell us anything,
yeah,
I won't force you to drop any secrets.
yeah. I never really like yeah. It's always, I never know like what is but I will. I'll save like the deep deets. But I am writing a sequel to The Girl with No Soul. It's going to be focusing a bit on Evander. Yeah, there's how do I describe without yeah, it's kind of about what happens when you kind of take on the people in power and things happen and suddenly you are maybe in charge and it's gonna be kind of exploring the bigger world beyond Providence. What else is out there? Yeah, lots more world building, mystery, romance,
That sounds
and
really good.
yeah, excited. I'm kind of in between drafts at the moment. We're in that stage editing, so I don't want to say anything too specific in case it gets changed still.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is due to be out next year, also in March, I think. But yeah, I won't say anything else.
Can't
Yeah,
wait.
book twos. Woo.
How has the experience been different? Because I know writing a sequel is probably a totally different ball game to
It
kind of
really is.
writing the first book.
Yeah.
Um, what's been maybe the biggest difference between writing the two, do you think?
Like I feel like being a pantser helped me in the first one. It kind of made it what it was. And that if I didn't have that kind of mind, it wouldn't have played out the way it played out. But that with this one, I had a few times of desperately wishing I was a plotter, and that yeah, because there were just a lot of things that I feel really lucky to get a chance to write another story in this world, and there were a lot of people who deserve more page time and whose stories I want to explore. And again, I'm in this like situation of having too many things that I want to focus on and illuminate with my little lantern. So yeah, it's a harder, I'd say. You've got to build on that, make the world bigger, make it better, and yeah, you don't have that like that same kind of just discovering the story the first book, and now you're like really solidifying the world, so it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah,
Yeah. I know it's going to be amazing.
thank you.
It's going to be wonderful. Like, honestly, you're one of the authors that could write a shopping list, and I'd probably read it. Like, because this was, I'm going to make you blush and go all shy,
I
but this,
know. I'm not good at taking compliments. I won't like. What is my face looking like? I probably look horrified. Don't say nice things. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
it's like,
I'm so
mm,
happy that you love it.
it's just,
Hmm. Uh. Hmm.
which is
So yeah, you hope to deliver something better, and you just pour yourself into it again because that's what you do with writing.
definitely. Well, I know that I can't wait for book 2, and I know a lot of other people won't be able to wait either.
Thanks so
Um,
much.